Hello, hello. Thanks for joining me. Painting tonight on an 8x10 Centurion panel, which I did not tone this time. I debated whether I wanted that color underneath and decided to go with a white canvas. Trying something different. I set up a still life here, and I don't know how it looks to you, but everything is purple. The background is purple, purple teapot, purple container. So different, you know. We're going to see, and I could have toned my canvas purple. I did consider that too, and start out that way. Get me back in place here. Let me give you a good view pretty much in front. I got you a little close, don't I? It's tricky, you know, to give you the view you need and to fix it so I can see around you. Hopefully that'll work. Okay, so anyway, I made the decision not to tone it. Again, I could have toned it. You could tone it purple if you were doing something like this, and then go in there with different values and different shades of purple and create your items. The truest purple I can make with I have a limited palette for the most part, 2 blues, 2 reds, 2 yellows. A ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson is the truest purple you can make. The reason is the ultramarine is your coolest blue. As you look at it, you can tell. And the alizarin crimson is a cool red. It has some blue in it. You can tell by looking at it. So that's your truest purple mixture. And if you want to gray it, which all of this to me looks like a grayed purple, not a real saturated pure purple, then you're going to throw in the complement of purple, which is yellow. So yeah, I don't know that I ever did a still life where everything in it was the same color, but that's what we're doing. We'll get a smaller brush, and we're going to use our view catcher like we always do. It's set for an 8x10. Nope. Yep, 8x10. And we'll look through that and set up our composition. We'll use our brush to locate things as I look through it. And we'll sketch on with ultramarine and transparent red oxide, which is very dark. Like I said, there'd be lots of ways to handle this. If you did it all in purple, you could just come back in and create the shapes that you see and leave a lot of lost edges. That would be one way to handle this. All right, let's look through there and see what we got. I'm working with 2 containers. Instead of an odd number. I tend to prefer odd numbers, but we're not. So I'm looking where the top of things are and the bottom of things. I do want to see some of that shadow that's off to the right. Then we'll just play around a while and we'll loosely place things. I've determined that the handle's about there. And at the top of it's about there. I think I've only painted this. I painted this teapot one time, I think. I might have done that on air, I'm not sure. And we could run the handle off, we'll see. Look how much space we go from here to here to help us draw. How much from the lip of the lid down to where the spout starts. I would definitely call this a monochromatic painting. There's a shadow that runs off of there, actually runs the whole width of that. If you were painting a piece of clear glass, say you set up a vase on here that was clear glass, you could go ahead and block in the whole canvas the color of the background and then come in with not a lot of detail and explain that vase. Now, some people you'll see, they'll outline, say this was clear glass, they might outline the whole thing with a white edge. That isn't the way you don't paint it that way. I mean, you got to paint what you see. But if you say this was clear glass and the background was purple and I painted it all purple, I would come in and adjust some of the values still that you would see the color of the background through the vase. But you'd have to decide where it's lighter and where it's darker, even though it's the same color. And then lastly, paint in the highlights that you see. Don't just outline it. Looking at values now, even though obviously this is going to be purple, it's a little bit darker. There's a shadow from the teapot that's casting over here on this container. Get the shadow a little bit darker over here. This part of the teapot is darker. That's really dark inside that hole. Looking for the darkest darks. And again, it's like I said, it's all purple, even the background. So like I said, I can't recall that I ever did this. It's really an exercise. All right, cleaning off that brush a little bit. And we're going to mix up some purple. Everything's purple, so we're going to need quite a bit of purple. We'll just start off with a big pile of ultramarine and crimson. Okay, I'm going to pull some of it over here and lighten it. Play around and get at least 3 values. So I've got something to work with. Like I said, and to me, it's a bit of a grayed purple. So I did put a little bit of yellow in it. Trying to get something light enough for the light side. I wish I had more cameras and you could see my palette when I'm mixing. I did get that harness for my head. I told you I did try that. I haven't used it again. It didn't work real great because everything, when it's on my head, it's on my forehead. So if you were, the camera's up there. So everything, if I'm looking here, it's looking up here. So I haven't figured it out. And even the darkest purple on here needs a little bit of white in it. Nothing's, that dark. And again, I'm mixing a little yellow in it, which grays it. We may have to get out, more blue and more red before we're done. Hope I got enough of it here. All right, let's pick a fairly large brush. We're going with it's a number 6, Rosemary and Company. Okay. And while the brush is clean, I think we'll start out with the lightest lights that I see. Which is the lightest side of this pot right here. And we didn't tone, so we're going to struggle a little bit hiding that white canvas, And the edge of this handle is pretty light. anytime I don't tone, then I miss the fact that I haven't, because it just makes your job harder getting things covered. See, that's a nice dry brush, but you can't leave it like that because you see the white canvas. That's how I feel anyway. I mean, maybe you don't, maybe you paint and leave white canvas showing. A lot of people do. There's a highlight all around that up there. The little pointy thing on top. I'm going to darken the edge a little bit. I think it helps give it that feeling that it's going away. Keeping that very dark, but putting purple in it. This is also purple. As I squint and look at it, like I said, this whole area here is shadowed. That will help that stem stand out too, as you can see. That's the shadowed area. And again, it's purple. Everything's purple. Yeah, nothing on this guy is quite that light. missing my tone because it's, you know, I would be leaving a lot of this dry brush if I had a tone, because I really like dry brushing. I live near Cincinnati, and the Bengals are in the Super Bowl Sunday, so that's, I'm not a big sports fan, but that's pretty exciting for the people around here. And we'll be going, my grandson just got Eagle Scouts, so we're having a celebration for him Sunday, and I think we'll get home just in time to catch the beginning of the game. I'm going to put a little more crimson in this and change it up just a little bit. You know, actually, you could pretty much lose the edge over there. I want that to be symmetrical. Yeah, I want to make sure you get that shape right. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, I realize this isn't quite right, but we'll get it. Now, if you were a fan of Helen Van Wyck, she would take an area like this and do this kind of thing. Do you remember that? And then she would blend them together. That was one of her tricks. I think I'll switch to my kind of ratty liner brush that I use and think about some highlights. The whole top of that is like that. sleet we had here this week. It froze solid. Then we had a bit of snow over it. So our driveway's covered, but it's flat, luckily, so I shoot in and out of it like a bat out of hell. I get in, I get out. I'm not going to get stuck. I see my neighbor across the street couldn't get in hers today, and she's parked in the street. I really come in really fast. My poor daughter lives in a really nice area, but they're terrible about plowing their road, and her husband and son had to get out there yesterday and basically chip and a big sheet of ice off the road so they could get out of their driveway. It's ridiculous, I know in that kind of weather that they're overworked, but what would you do, if you weren't able-bodied, All right, let's see what kind of highlights we got on the guy over there. Not too many. There's one down inside. All right, let's get some purple on the background. More purple. I'm looking to see if some areas may be lighter and some areas may be darker. Of course, again, this over here is darker. And this in here appears to be somewhat darker. As you can see, I've got it a little rosier, not that it matters. With it all being purple, we'll get it covered, and then we'll see if we need to, what we need to pull lighter and what we need to pull darker to explain it, I like purple. I don't decorate with it, but I wear a lot of it. Purple tops. I like purple and greens and black, it seems. That's what most of my wardrobe seems to be. Can't go wrong with black, can you? And again, we're going to just get this covered for now, and then we'll see maybe where we need to adjust these containers so they read right, so they're not lost. It's different, painted all purple, isn't it? I said I've never done this, I don't think. You'd have to like purple a lot, wouldn't you, to actually hang this on your wall? Boy, a lot of people do, though. I think some people buy paintings for color. The frame would be really important on something like this, you know. Your choice of frame. All right, canvas is covered. Let's see what we can do now. Kind of lost that shadow. All right, let's see where we can make some, maybe some adjustments. And into the purple mixture, I put a little more crimson and white. I'm seeing this feels too light now that I've done it. And we can explain that edge back there somewhat. Glad when spring comes, my nose just runs constantly. I'm not sick, but God, it's aggravating. Trying to get back to where I can see it. I'm looking at it through the camera too. Just in the shape of that teapot. Yeah, that area there, I warmed it up a little bit. I actually threw a little cad red light in it because when you look over there, it looks warmer. And I've got a little bit of a reflection right here. I'm not sure why. May not want it there when it's all said and done. And like I say, we could have painted the whole canvas purple like this and then come in, you know, and made adjustments with value and color and created the shapes. That would have been another way to go at this. Trying to decide if I'm happy with everything or cut that in a little bit more. And this actually is rounded, but I'm not so sure I don't, but that I think I like it that way maybe. Not sure what that reflection's from, I mean, or whether it helps things. Sorry, I keep bumping into you. It's hard not to do that. Okay, well, I may quit. Again, it was just another probably practice piece to you know, paint all in one color here and see if we could still explain things with values. Knocking down some of these strokes. It's hard when I'm not directly in front of it. I'm kind of off to the side. Trying to see if things are proportioned correctly. I'm seeing a little bit of dark under there that I don't have. There's a Cincinnati artist that's a friend of mine, Anne Grimaldi. You might check her out. I probably mentioned her before. She's so good with her brush work. She lays down a stroke for everything and leaves it alone. She's always been good with her brush work. She just put a piece on Facebook that she had flowers in it and every petal was a stroke. Yeah, it's challenging to leave things alone like that. I've always admired her brush work. A lot of it, of course, is you got to get it right the first time if you're going to leave it alone. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to quit playing with this guy. Just trying to make sure you can read everything. Going a little bit darker so the shadow separates from the teapot. Okay, we'll call quits for now. Reads a little bit different through the camera than it does. Like this dark looks really dark through the camera, but not so much to my eye. And I feel like I need a dark back there to separate the teapot from the background. All right, that was about 45 minutes. As I'm looking at it, because I'm a little more in front of it now, squatted down, I may redo this spout. I feel as though it needs to come over a little bit, so I'm feeling like I probably will. It's just difficult when you're painting off to the side here like I am. If this is correct, this comes over, and the nose of that is maybe more out there. It curves up, and it probably comes out a little further, more like that probably. So, yeah, I'm probably going to adjust that a little bit. I don't know if it felt much different or not, changing a little bit. Anyway, I will let you go though, and I'll fix its nose, and thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and I'll be back again. All right. Have a wonderful evening.